What's up, fam? What's up, fam? Welcome to Hope TV. So excited that you've tuned in today. It's a privilege and a blessing and a joy to have you with us. We're excited that you're here, and Andre and I, we're back for this episode of Marriage Matters, and certainly we are just grateful to all of you for being a part, and it's truly a blessing and a privilege to have you tuned in. And so if you tuned in, Apple TV, Roku, Twitch, Amazon, Facebook, have you tuned in. We're excited to have you. I want you to drop us a line, let us know the city, state, country from which you're viewing. Also, want you consider subscribing, commenting, liking, and most important, help us to share it. Every time you share it, helps us with those algorithms. We've been doing this about a month now, haven't we? About a year now. Oh
A
my
year,
goodness,
yes.
it's almost a year. Yeah, we started with the women's ministry March of last year, and here's what's funny, and here we are back at almost a year. So listen, next week will be a year that we've been doing this. So unbelievable. So it's just crazy. It's amazing that this has been going on this long. So we're excited about it and glad you guys are here. And we appreciate you being a part. So subscribe, like, comment, share. Make sure you share. Hit that share button. Also want to thank all our viewers who've tuned in through IG Live. We appreciate you being a part today, man. Anything you want to share with people?
No, just thank you for being a part. Thank you for sharing with us, and thank you for watching.
Yes, yes, excited to have you with us. Hey, we have a couple that we love and appreciate so much. They were with us months ago. One of the first couples we had on, and we appreciate their story and their journey because they have a lot of different moving parts going on and trying to navigate those moving parts in life and relationship and the pandemic. And like everybody else is trying to get through this season, and we want to have them come back because they did something that we didn't get into last time. I want to get into it more this time. We want to welcome back Pastor Nate and Lady Kim Austin from Miami, Florida. Welcome back to Marriage Matters. What's up, fam? How y'all doing?
Hey,
We're
Hi,
doing,
how y'all
hey, how
doing?
y'all doing? Good to be
good.
with
Man,
you
good,
all.
good.
Good to be with you, seeing you in a different light. Last time we saw each other was for a sad occasion. So we're
Yeah.
grateful to be on with you guys. We were one of the first couples of this show, and we're still together. Still healthy, still healthy,
1 year
still
later.
strong. So we're blessed, man.
well, we know it's all due to God and all due to Kim. So I love you, Kim. Thank you for
I think Kim thinks she is
Thank you.
God sometimes, but yeah,
yeah, it's amazing. I mean, when we talked, months ago, almost a year ago, who would have ever thought that we still be in this? And you guys gave us some pointers. We're still here, and more than likely gonna be here for a few months. Things getting better, but we still pulling through it. In
right.
terms of, a couple, how have you both been able to kind of navigate through it?
Wow. It has been challenging, but while it's been challenging, I think it's allowed us to be creative. One of the things that we're doing in this virtual space, and we have intentionally begin to make time for each other, and so often we've made the church a priority, which of course is very important. But we've learned that we are just as valuable to ourselves than we are to our church, and so I think that's been the greatest thing for me. I don't know if I'm speaking for you, but
I know early on, when the pandemic first started, we had this a similar comment making ourselves a priority. Um, I must say, as the pandemic has gone on, like you said, Pastor Smith, we didn't expect it to go on this long, so we've had to elaborate on our creativity. Sort of say, at first stuff was everything was closed down. We kind of didn't have a choice. Then things started opening back up, and we started getting back to trying to find a rhythm and everything. And we kind of a little bit gone back to church, so that kind of made us have to be a little more creative. And plus, like any other couple, you need a little distance sometimes. So that's why I say we had to elaborate on our creativity.
and we still haven't found a way to get rid of those kids.
No,
And I
they
think
still
that's
here.
that's the
Yeah,
that's the
kids are
biggest
still here.
that's the big
I feel you. I feel you. So, let me ask you this: have they gone back to school, or Kim? How are you doing with? Because I know you're an educator. And with the kids being in school, are you still educating at home, your children and other children, or how are you working with that?
No. Um, my kids are here. One is here. Another one was home for a while. My youngest one was home for a while because they had a scare, so he was home for a while. I kind of really didn't want to send him back, but I had to send him back because he was more like the more active one, and his school is much smaller, not a public school. So I felt a little more comfortable with him going back because with the other one being older and requiring a little more attention because of the grade level and stuff, it was a big distraction and more work on me. But no, I haven't been in the classroom directly for about 5 or 6 years, but I've had to revisit some things and been in close connection with some of my teacher friends. And my oldest one is kind of a little strain on him because he needs kids need that one on one. So I've been kind of giving him one on one and have some friends that he hook up with and they give him a little more one on one just to keep them kind of grounded. But for the most part, I think they're doing pretty well.
That's great. I know you also, start a business. You guys doing a lot in business as well. You both been running the business as well. Can you tell us about that?
Yeah, right before the pandemic, our business was doing very well. We run a catering company, which caters to schools, and we had high revenue before the pandemic. We were close to about $1 million in revenue from that business, and of course, with the pandemic hitting, it affected schools, and so therefore, when it affected schools, it affected our business, and so we had to really pivot. Because that was the main reason why she hasn't been in the school system for 5 years, because she's been running that business. And so when the business took a hit, and the schools closed, I couldn't even send her back to school to go get a job. So we definitely had to navigate through that situation. We had to learn how to make adjustments. But now things are picking back up, and we're kind of getting back to a sense of normalcy when it comes to business. It's still about halfway to where it was, but we thank God that we're still surviving.
Yeah, and the hardest part was we had to let some people go in the midst of our own adjustment. So we had to do what we had to do for our home and for our business sake. So that was difficult as well.
Yeah, I mean, it's a tough time on a lot of people, and people, everybody's having to adjust and make adjustments. It's like, except the people who really benefiting off of this, the billionaires, they seem to be on somebody
Right,
Right.
who like it
right,
like it is. But I
right.
think anybody can understand what's happening. That's amazing. You want to say something?
Yeah, I think, and it brings me to this point that you said you guys are making more time for each other. So, like, can you give like some of the couples like some ideas of some things you've done, to kind of spice it up a little bit since you guys have been home for a year together?
Well, I know one of the things we intentionally did, as Kim said, we've gone back to church in a smaller setting. We only allow a handful of people to come inside. They're more like a studio audience for us. And so since we've gone back to church and having church on Sunday, what we decided to do is we made Fifth Sunday a virtual Sunday. So we implemented that into our church culture, that from now on, every fifth Sunday will be virtual. And we wanted to make sure that we set that precedence to show all of the families at our church that we want you. For so long, pastors had to run and hide when they were going to be away. Families, of course, they didn't let us know when they were going to be away. So this a few weeks ago was the first Sunday we were able to implement it, and we did go away. We went to Orlando, and it was great. And so, what I would challenge any couple, whether you're a pastor or not, is you have to be intentional, and you have to stand by that decision of making you a priority. So many things are going to come up. A good pastor friend of mine, brother in the ministry, passed away, and his homegoing was that weekend. And I had to fight against wanting to be there. Brother, the love came out of our church, but I didn't go. I made the family a priority. I watched the service, cried, but I made sure I stayed. I kept that commitment to my wife. And so I would challenge any couple, if you put yourself first, don't let anything come between that.
I know because the pandemic, I don't know about for other people, but for us, it's kind of packed on a few extra pounds for a lot of people,
What?
from what I'm
Why you
observing.
talking about doing like
And
that?
so,
Talk about
so,
me. Me.
I'm losing weight, bro.
I'm the one that's gay.
I gain,
so
I'm losing weight.
one of the things we made a priority is just like finding like workout time. The kids call it recess, and doing stuff in the yard and around the house, working out and things like that. So the kids enjoy it, we enjoy it. Whether it be riding a bike, walking through the neighborhood, they play basketball outside, or just something that we all could benefit from because of the few extra that we packed on. So
That's good. That's good because I think that's a thing we've gotten away from. Is the outside, getting our kids outside. I know,
right.
mine, they're older now. We went out and bought bikes, and we go and bike ride, and they leave us, and it's it's like not even fun for us because they just leave. They're at the house, and we're still on, the half-mile mark. They're at mile 2 already home. But it's good that you all are doing that outside and getting outside with the kids. I love that. Love it.
Yeah,
Now,
I can imagine
you said,
because I know I was
go
saying
ahead.
I can imagine because my 9-year-old want to leave us, and we worried about the 6-year-old. So I can imagine if yours at their age,
Yeah.
they really taking off. So
So you said going forward, every fifth Sunday will be a virtual service. You're pre-recorded, and
Absolutely. We made that a commandment at our church that moving forward, we're going to take advantage of that. And we were a little hesitant at first, but then it dawned on me really for 95% of my members, they're in virtual church every Sunday. So why not take that advantage? And I didn't want to repeat some of the same habits that we had before
uh,
the pandemic.
uh,
And so I thought that this was a great opportunity,
in the Bible
um,
study.
and our Bible studies are totally virtual as well. So that gives me more time at the house. We stay about 45 minutes from our church. And so Bible study nights for us was crazy. Getting the kids from school, eating and doing homework in the car on the way to Bible study, and then having to figure out, what we're going to do with them once we got back home. It was late. So making more of our church virtual has really helped us as a couple and as parents.
And I'll say this too. I think that's a great idea because it also gives the members, a chance to be off, as you will. The ministries
Right.
have a chance to be off that
Right.
week. So I think, I like
Right.
that.
And that was the idea really. In the church culture, there's no off season. There's, it's 52 weeks. And it dawned on me that everybody can be off at the same time. And so we encourage our staff to try as best as possible, schedule vacations around it. It's a paid vacation for them. And so it's gotten off to a great start. Prayerfully, as things open back up, our members will be able to enjoy it as well. But we took pictures. We wanted to be intentional about it to encourage the members that this is what our fifth Sundays are going to look like.
that's great. You know, is the last time we talked and you guys were on the show, we didn't get a chance to get into it, but you both wrote a book called The 10 Commandments of Love. That's really what I was intending to get you back on prior to now. I think it's a great time now, where we are now, and I want you to just talk about you know what brought that about, and and let's talk about someone because I know you gave me someone, but what brought that book about? What brought it about?
Well, thankfully, this show is a show of transparency. You're not bringing on couples that are going to be fake and phony. So to be totally transparent, we wrote that book at a very difficult point in our relationship. We've been together, married, this year will make 18 years. And a little over halfway point, just like in any relationship, there was turmoil and tension. And, we were trying to figure out, hey, is it? Is this thing going to be over? And so God placed this in my spirit. And of course, couldn't write a book like this without doing it with my wife. And in writing the book, literally writing the book brought us together. and it allowed us to be a model for other marriages. And we took the Ten Commandments of love in the Old Testament and we just reworded them into a love language. Very small book, I think less than 80 pages, but it literally dissects the Ten Commandments of love in the language of love. And so the first language is inclusivity. Thou shalt be exclusive. And for myself, I'll let Lady Kim speak on it. Exclusiveness doesn't always mean that you're with another human, another body. Being exclusive for me was making time for my wife, not allowing the church and other aspirations to get in the way of us being exclusively one as a unit. For me, that's one of the best chapters of the book. But don't let me. Maybe she don't know. Maybe you need to reread the book. No, that's.
Why you gotta
I was sounding that good. I was sounding that
You
good.
was sounding
Okay,
real good.
you usually say I don't give you room to
No,
talk.
you're doing good.
Yeah.
So of course of course in old Ten Commandments there should be no other God before me. So we have to be very careful that nothing takes the place of our spouse. Not just another man, another woman, but nothing. A job, a career, a goal, a dream. Nothing. A child, a parent. Nothing should stand in the way of your spouse. I believe that that's one of the first signs of failure is when you allow other things and other people to get in the way of your marriage.
I guess I go back to what we were talking about, just being intentional about spending our time and things together. So exclusive. A lot of us at our jobs, our friendships, we're exclusive about getting there on time and intentional, I'm sorry, about getting there on time and going places on time and doing things the right way. So realistically, we can be that way in our marriage. And that's what our spouse or your mate will want to feel, that you're intentional about the time that you spend together. A lot of us get together on our cell phones, we're doing different things. So that was pretty much coming out of being intentional about this is our time together. This is what we're going to do together. And to do that, it took a lot of thought and planning. And a lot of times, especially in this day and age, we tend to just jump in and want to go with the flow. But it's a thought process. It's kind of to bring awareness that there's a thought process to being intentional about your marriage and exclusive within your marriage.
And then the second part of the book, No Substitute, that was very important because if you're not careful, you will find a substitute for your spouse without even realizing it. Whether it's staying at a friend's house a little longer or going out to a bar or social, wherever it is, or taking engagements, traveling, that becomes a substitute for being at home. And so one of the things about this COVID-19 reality is it took away all the substitutes.
Right.
Like anything that you were substituting for not being at home, that's gone.
Unless you wanted the Rona.
Right. You're gonna substitute that with the Rona. So we had to value the substitutes. Cell phones. You can be you see two people out on a date and they're dating more of the cell phone than they are each other. And so those were just two major points in the book that we had to kind of realize on our own, and then we were able to write about it.
And then the good thing about it is we say marriage, but for me, it's a book really for couples that are dating, because it has like dialogue in it and space where you can write, and it kind of asks questions that can create a dialogue. And it's good for couples that's considering marriage, because you'll know with these commandments if you're even on the right track. If y'all so far apart and none of it's making sense to your mate, then that kind of will give you an awareness of which direction you're going in, how serious the relationship is.
Yeah, let me ask you this question relative to inclusivity and substitute. were those things that you guys struggle with, or things that you talked about amongst yourselves, that one of you have an issue with the other one? Trying to see how do you, because it's very clear, how do you come about? Did y'all talk those things through? Did you things that you work through in your own relationship, or one of you may have had that issue, the other one didn't have the issue. You know, one of you had to help the other to see. Trying to figure out how you
Um,
came about that, because I think it's very helpful to a lot of people.
I think it becomes obvious when you finally get together and then a person, your mate, is saying something and you totally like way off on a different page and y'all used to being on a different page. So if you when you do get in tune with each other, you feel one person feel, well dang, I said this, it was clear, and then the other person is way off base. It kind of, if you want to be real with yourself, it kind of becomes clear and blatant that we're not on the same page. So it kind of came that way. You was arguing over stuff and 5 minutes later couldn't figure out what you was arguing about. And then you was mad about stuff and then you realized it really wasn't that serious. You know, or it's like, I know I said this, why is he this or she that? So after a while when we decided, you know, hey, we at a point where we need to do some things or make decisions, that's when it was clear, but it became blatantly clear, obviously clear to, I mean, in a way that it had to be addressed. So we decided to address it.
I think because of the making of the book, the Ten Commandments. So the Ten Commandments, of course, gave itself its own model. And what we did was we set the titles, and then each of us kind of wrote notes. Each of us wrote the chapter ourselves separately. Then we came together. Basically, whoever had written the most about that chapter really meant that they was the problem, right? And so we compared each other's notes and added our own inputs, and so it allowed us to be creative because it already had its own model, its own skeleton, and so it helped us to realize, even through writing it separately, it helped us to realize how we saw the other person without even recognizing it. Because quite naturally, you're writing it, and the human aspect of it is you ain't writing it because you got the issue. You writing it because they got the issue. So when you're reading it, basically you're reading all the things that this person feels about me. And so it was very helpful for us. And we had a great time writing it. I must say we did have a good time writing it.
And that's what kind of prompted to put the questions in there, because it was questions that we asked each other that had to be addressed, and to give people opportunity instead of you go over there and read, you read, and it kind of prompt, because sometimes we thinking stuff but we waiting on what the other person think. So the question was there, so it give you a starting point to start and kind of get an aha with each other.
So one was substitute, the other was inclusivity, and then you had one about speaking well.
Speaking well of your mate.
Your mate.
Yeah, that's that is a lost art in old married couples. I think speaking well of your mate is something that you must continue to do. And I think I lost fact because she wrote it, and when we were writing it, that she brought out the fact that there's some things that I just don't say well about her. And it's not that I don't say I love you, but it was deeper than that. I like to joke a lot, and sometimes I found out that some of the jokes she took a little seriously. And so I had to move from thinking that she knows this, that I feel this way, to actually speaking it outside of the platform that I have, which is the pulpit. Because it's easy for me to flatter her from the pulpit, but not flatter her from the floor. And so basically, she wanted me to speak well of her when the cameras were off. And I thought I was, but I really wasn't.
I wouldn't say wasn't, just not in the way when to
Not
get
as
to the
much
point,
as you
right?
wanted me to.
Not to get to the point where you know where you wanted to get back in the day. So,
Right. Outside of me wanting something in return. She
Yeah.
just meant
I feel you. I feel you.
right. She wanted me to
you
just
went above and beyond at some point,
Right.
and it's like you had to get back to that point.
Right.
Got you.
right.
Without expecting something in return.
Right. That's the key element. Just good morning, just because it's morning. That and something else flattery. Flowers and things, not leading to something
Right.
else, because you kind of lose your ace card when she kind of already predicts this is why you're talking like this way. So that was very important to her, and therefore it became important to me.
That's good. You have another chapter on remembering the Sabbath. Can you talk to us about, what brought that one on?
So God
I know
clearly
you guys go to
says,
church.
remember the Sabbath and keep it holy, right? He says that. Take a day off and make it a sacred day. Well, for us as business owners, as pastors, we had been dishonoring the Sabbath. From a marital standpoint, we could not find a time that we've had a day off where it was no work, no church, no business meetings, nothing. And again, this COVID reality brought that to our attention in a major way. And so we had to make time. We had to make time and honor that time, meaning that the cell phone goes off. That's how you honor it. Cell phone goes off. People know we have a do not disturb in our, at least do not disturb in our phone. And so therefore, when that's on, maybe only our parents can get a hold of us. That's how you honor that, because it's one thing to say you're going to do it. It's one thing to even put it on your calendar, but it's another thing to honor it. And that's what we've set out to do, to honor it. Somebody dies and we're honoring our Sabbath. They may not hear from us because we're honoring that Sabbath. And we keep it holy.
And the key thing is, like he said, letting people know. It just got to the point that everybody at the church knew. I think at that time, the Sabbath might change depending on how the seasons change. But I think at that time, everybody knew Friday night was the night. We ain't calling. We gonna find another way, another means, somebody else to pray for it. However, whatever it took. And for a while, we did the same exact thing every Friday. It really didn't matter. We went to cheesecake. We ordered the same thing, the clam chowder, the pasta. We shared it.
So boring.
We did all that. We did it the exact same way. It was about the time, but it wasn't so much about what we did and how we did it. So often people get caught up. And it depends on your mate. Some people require a little extra or whatever, but after 17 years, it's like, if we're trying to get back to a starting point, you got to start from somewhere. So we basically did the same thing for a while until we got creative.
I love it.
And your last one, the fifth one was show gratitude. And honor your spouse, show gratitude towards your spouse. Can you hit on that a little bit?
Yeah. Oh, go ahead.
Oh, go ahead. Yeah.
Like he said earlier, so often, the whole book is about just the language and the language for love. And so often we think we're showing gratitude because we're doing something the same way we've always done it, and the person never says nothing about it, and we're so passive about it. And then sometimes we kind of have to come back to reality, and a lot of times we just, I don't want to say accept, but we just fall into a comfortable zone. And then when we look back at it, we realize, or when it come up, whether it be an argument or whatever, we think what we're doing is right because he or she didn't bring it up, or he or she didn't say anything about it. So, when we talk about it, they take it as, here you go, being negative or holding on to that or whatever. But it's just a simple time to bring it to their awareness, just to say, hey, thank you for this, or thank you for that, or we like how this, and just a compliment. It's just showing your gratitude, even with a compliment and things like that.
Right. I mean, and it's about showing. That commandment in the original is honor thy mother and thy father. Showing it. Not just saying it, but showing it. And it's ways to show it. It doesn't have to be financial, but showing it. Start by saying it, definitely, because I think we lack in that too. We don't really say that I'm thankful that you are with me. I'm thankful for what you do for me. We almost get to the point where it becomes an expectation
Right.
that you're supposed to do this.
Mhm.
And
I cook, be happy.
right, you cook because you're supposed to cook, but you can be like Andre and don't cook.
What?
But I'm sorry.
I'm staying in my own house. I ain't going there.
But
And,
no,
and take your
it's
husband there too.
but it's showing, it's expressing it, and not feeling like it is a forced expression. No, it should be a sense to where I feel like I need to show and express to my wife that I'm grateful that she is with me, and honoring, and just honoring, and it goes honor and respect. It goes both ways, but it also goes hand in hand.
And it's difficult being in a place of a pastor or just a community or involved type of person with their profession, because it seems like they do it and give it out so easy to other people. But then being the recipient or back on the other end, you would think, well, I've been here 17 years. You've been there 10 years. You would think it would come back so easy to feel that gratitude. And they're constantly, when you see your spouse or mate constantly giving, stopping, taking time, it kind of takes a toll on you. So you got to get to those points where you're able to pinpoint, and that's where the book will come in hand in the dialogue. You can talk about those times where it need to be pinpoint, or those times where it comes up, and you could just address the issues at hand. So
And she brings up an interesting point, something I never thought about. But as a pastor and first lady, we get honored. And so sometimes in the back of our minds, we're saying, wow, they're honoring me more than she is, or more than he is. And so psychologically, it can do something to you when you got hundreds of people telling you how good you are, how you so this. Every time whatever you say is God's gift, and then you come home and you're not getting that in return. And so you have to make sure that no one is speaking better about to your spouse than you are.
That's so good, man. This has been so helpful. I'm out of time already, man. I'm not gonna be able to get through all 10 in this episode. Will y'all come back for episode 2? Y'all come
Yes,
back.
sir.
Y'all come back, please.
Yes,
Next
sir.
episode.
absolutely.
Yes, sir.
All right, will be episode 4. All right, fam. Hey, we gotta close this. This has been so rich. I hope you, everybody who's been watching, hope you've been blessed by it. I mean, this is they're taking us through it. I want everybody to get that book, and tell us where you can get the book. We're gonna come back in episode. We're gonna come back next week and keep the conversation. But those who want to get the book now, tell us how they can get it.
Absolutely. It's on Amazon.com. Just put 10 Commandments of Love. My name, Nathan E. Austin. It should pop up there. You can also go to positiontoprosper.org/TCL. That's our church website /TCL, 10 Commandments of Love. And you can find it there. But the easiest way you can do is find it on Amazon.
Listen, they're gonna come back next week. We're out of time, and these 30 minutes have gone by so fast. We're gonna come back next week and keep talking about this. They're gonna be our special guest next week. So, and I appreciate you being a part. Great conversation. Same time next week. Same day, same time next week. Tune in for another episode of Marriage Matters. And always remember this: if you be good to God, God be good to you. Until next time, peace.
Bye.
Bye-bye.